The American Postal Workers Union has many allies in its fight to preserve quality postal services in every community. They include the Reverend William Barber, a leader of the Moral Monday movement in North Carolina, who says the time is right for a new coalition in America.
My friends, 51 years ago when I was born, we were in a moral crisis. And I believe that today America is once again in a moral crisis. And I want to suggest to you today that together, only together, can we meet this moral crisis. I believe that deep within our being as a nation, as a people, we are longing for a moral compass. It's not necessarily a Christian compass or Muslim compass or Jewish compass, but a moral compass. And whether people come at it through their faith or they come at it through the first tenets of our Constitution, which is to establish justice, there's a longing. For those of us who are moved by the cries of our brothers and sisters, we know that things like justice and caring for the vulnerable and embracing the stranger and workers' rights and healing the sick and being fair to all members of the human family and educating our children should never be seen as left-right issues or issues relegated to the margins of our social consciousness. The fact of the matter, these things are not just policy issues. They are not just issues for just our faith traditions, but literally they are issues that ought to be at the forefront of our society. The forces of extremism know our power better than we do sometimes. And that is why, right here, African American and working class white people must protect the right to vote. It's tangible. Labor and civil, you cannot have a labor convention and not discuss what's going on with the right to vote. I know you talked about staples, but you also got to talk about this stealing of the right to vote that's going on in America and understand the connection. It ain't about fraud. There's no fraud. It's not about voter ID. It's about stifling the power of the vote and keeping a lock on the South, because if we ever break open the South, we break open worker rights, we break open labor rights, we break open civil rights. Why you got to be in this fight? That's why, Mr. President, labor has got to be in this fight.
Other speakers at the convention included TV host Ed Schultz, a strong supporter of the Postal Service, Clue President Connie Leak, radio commentator Jim Hightower, and CWA President Larry Cohen. Schultz said it's time for the White House to hear from postal workers.
I will call the president out. You can't forget where you came from. I know what this union did for President Obama to get elected and to get reelected. And you have my word, I'm going to make a call to the White House today and ask him why he won't meet with the 4 union heads who represent all of the postal workers in this country. I think President Obama is an honorable man. I think he's got a lot on his plate. But I just want to add a little bit more. It goes with the territory. The president needs to know, absolute, A to Z, your story and the destruction by the conservative movement in this country that they are taking to the Postal Service in this country. That story has to go to the Oval Office and it has to be pushed on Capitol Hill. It's an absolute. It's an absolute. You're either for workers or you're against workers. That's it. We are living in an age of record profits for corporations. We are living in an age where we're seeing record numbers on the stock market. But you know what? They want more. They want to privatize what you do, and they really don't know how the hell they're going to do it. They just want to do it because they think that they can say, well, there's $67 billion out there. We got to get a chunk of that change. So what are we going to do? We're going to attack the workers. And we have to understand that this is a cultural effort that's taken place in America. They won't raise the minimum wage. They will attack voices in the workplace on a state level. They will introduce right-to-work legislation in 26 states across America. They will squash voices in the workplace. They'll take away your rights. They'll do everything they possibly can for profit. That's not the new economy I want. I don't think it's the new economy you want. I don't think it's the new economy that America wants to support. What is your legacy going to be to your family? What is your legacy going to be to your community? What is your legacy going to be to this country? And we all can make a difference. I have one goal. One goal. I feel like I've been very fortunate. But with 6 kids and 11 grandkids, and I'm sure there's more coming, the only goal I have is when they put the fat, red-headed old man in the ground someday, just say that he had the guts to stand up and say something when things weren't right, because that's really what this is about. That is the contribution that we all have to make. We all have to engage. We all have to believe that we can force change. We all collectively. They can't beat us collectively. They'll never beat us collectively. If we stick together, fight hard, stay focused, we can't lose. God bless all of you. God bless the Postal Service. Let's keep up the fight for America.
When President Demosthenes called for action to boycott Staples, Clue is on the front lines and chanting these words: U.S. mail is not for sale. U.S. mail is not for sale. Okay, that's one thing we have to do when we chatting. We got to be organized. We're going to try this one more time. I know you're tired, but we're going to do this one more time. I say it, then you say it. U.S. mail is not for sale. U.S. mail is not for sale. U.S. mail is not for sale. I will continue to take off my heels and put on a pair of flats and join my APWU family, union brothers and sisters, active and retired, to make sure that the U.S. mail is not for sale.
You have the grassroots presence in every community. You have the organized network of this union. You have the historic credibility. You are direct descendants of Benjamin Franklin, for God's sake. You have the public's appreciation, even love for its post offices, all of that going for me. You can be key to forging this grassroots movement that America's got to have to avoid devolving into corporate oligarchy. That's why your union is so important. The good news is we don't have to convince the majority of the American people to agree with us, because they already do. You've seen the way the local people have rallied to protest the Darrell Issa, Pat Donahoe's cabal of cutting service and eliminating post offices from Brooklyn to Berkeley. They've stood up to fight back for these treasures. Old City, Philadelphia, where they have put Benjamin Franklin's own post office on the closure list, all the way down to Little Valentine, Texas, where I've been. People are standing up for it. But likewise, the majority of Americans support us on issue after issue after issue. Thank you for what you are doing, and to say, let's team up and do a whole lot more of it, because there's a world out there of people, a number of whom think that they are conservative, but they don't like what corporate power is doing to them. There are a number of people out there who don't think anyone gives a damn about them, but they want action. There are people out there who are being stomped on every single day in every way, and they think nobody cares. Well, we do care, and we do care about a majority of Americans coming together and building the America that ought to be back up again, that America of egalitarian values, of equal opportunity for every single person in the country. Together, we can make this happen.
Let me say loud and clear, our union is absolutely committed to stopping Staples, and we will be there with you to stop Staples in every store, in every city. And that rally yesterday was great. But we have a message for Staples, and CWAers will be there with you. And it goes like this: you can run, but you can't hide. Next time, we'll be right inside.